The chilling rain of a London autumn lashed against the grimy windows of my small apartment, mirroring the turmoil in my soul. I remember that night with a clarity that still haunts my waking hours, a night that began with a mundane trip to the convenience store for milk and ended with a primal terror etched into my very being. The clock on the wall read 11:47 p.m. A gust of wind rattled the panes and I shivered, pulling my worn jacket tighter. Little did I know, the fabric of my ordinary life was about to be torn apart, replaced by a nightmare I couldn't escape. My name is Arthur. I'm 26 years old, and until that cursed night, my biggest concern was making rent and trying to convince Sarah from accounting to go for a drink. I was just another face in the bustling London crowd, an anonymous cog in the machine. Now I carry a secret, a burden that separates me from everyone I once knew. The street lights cast long, distorted shadows as I stepped out, the air heavy with the smell of damp earth and something else. Something acrid and wild, like a zoo animal's enclosure. It was late, even for London, and the streets were mostly deserted. A sudden movement in the alleyway to my left caught my eye. A dark shape, larger than any dog I'd ever seen, slunk into the deeper shadows. My heart gave a jolt. Just a stray, I told myself, a particularly large one. But there was an unsettling intelligence in the way it moved, a predatory grace that sent a prickle of unease down my spine. I hurried along trying to dismiss the image, but the feeling of being watched persisted. The wind picked up, howling through the narrow streets, carrying with it a faint, guttural growl that seemed to vibrate in the very air around me. I quickened my pace, my footsteps echoing unnaturally loud on the wet pavement. Then I heard it again, closer this time, a low, rasping breath behind me. I didn't dare look back. Every instinct screamed at me to run. I bolted, the milk carton forgotten. My breath hitched in my throat, my legs burning with exertion. The growl intensified, becoming a snarl, a sound of pure, unadulterated malevolence. I could hear heavy thuds behind me, too fast, too powerful for any human. Panic seized me, a cold, suffocating grip. I risked a glance over my shoulder. What I saw will forever be burned into my mind. A creature, impossibly tall, its silhouette hulking against the faint glow of a distant street lamp. Its fur was matted and black, not the sleek coat of a dog, but bristly and coarse, like an ancient decaying hide. Its head was too large, its snout elongated, and in the fleeting glimpse, I caught the gleam of razor-sharp teeth. But it was the eyes that truly terrified me, glowing embers of pure, malevolent hatred. This was no animal. This was a nightmare given flesh. A black, scary werewolf. I rounded a corner, my lungs screaming for air, and stumbled into a small, desolate park. The iron gates clanged shut behind me, a pathetic attempt at protection. I scrambled over a low wall, my hands torn and bleeding, not even feeling the pain. The creature was close. Its hot breath, heavy and foul, seemed to be on my neck. I could hear its claws scraping against the stone, a sound that grated on my nerves. I found myself in a thicket of overgrown bushes, thorny branches tearing at my clothes. I burrowed deeper, trying to make myself invisible, my heart hammering against my ribs. The growling was deafening now, reverberating through the small park. I could smell it, a rank, musky odor, mingled with something metallic and sickeningly sweet. It was circling, I knew it, hunting me like prey. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Each rustle of leaves, each snap of a twig, sent a fresh wave of terror through me. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying, begging for it to go away. But it didn't. Instead, the growling stopped. The sudden silence was even more terrifying than the noise. It was waiting, watching. Suddenly, a branch above me cracked, and a heavy weight landed with a thud. I opened my eyes to see a pair of glowing, yellow eyes just inches from my face. The black, scary werewolf was upon me. Its fur was matted with grime and something else. Something dark and sticky. Its claws, long and curved like daggers, were already tearing at the earth beside my head. A guttural snarl ripped through the air, vibrating through my very bones. I could feel its hot, putrid breath on my face. Its teeth, long and stained, were bared in a terrifying grin. I screamed, a sound ripped from the deepest part of my soul, but it was swallowed by the night. I struggled, thrashing wildly, but its weight was immense, pinning me to the ground. The creature raised a massive clawed hand, poised to strike. I squeezed my eyes shut again, bracing for the end. But the blow never came. Instead, a piercing whistle, sharp and insistent, cut through the night. The werewolf paused, its head cocked, its glowing eyes darting toward the source of the sound. Then, with a final, terrifying snarl directed at me, it turned and disappeared into the shadows as quickly as it had appeared. I lay there trembling, for what felt like hours, my body racked with fear. When the first faint hint of dawn touched the sky, I somehow found the strength to crawl out of the bushes. My clothes were shredded, my skin raw, but I was alive, or so I thought. The next few days were a blur of sleepless nights and paranoid glances over my shoulder. I couldn't shake the feeling of being hunted, of those glowing eyes watching me from the darkness. My apartment, once a sanctuary, now felt like a cage. Every shadow seemed to harbor a hidden threat. I avoided the park. I avoided going out after dark, but the memory of its presence clung to me like a shroud. One evening, a week after the attack, I felt a strange itching sensation on my arm. Where the werewolf's claws had grazed me, a small, dark puncture wound had appeared, festering and angry. I tried to ignore it, to dismiss it as a mere scratch from the bushes. But the itching intensified, spreading through my veins, a burning sensation that reached deep into my bones. That night, the full moon hung heavy and luminous in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over London. I felt a surge of inexplicable energy, a restless agitation that coursed through my body. My muscles tensed, my senses heightened. I could hear the distant chatter of people, the faint roar of traffic, the rustle of leaves outside my window, all with an unnerving clarity. A primal urge began to stir within me, a hunger I couldn't understand, a thirst for something raw and untamed. As the moon climbed higher, a searing pain shot through my arm, then my entire body. My skin felt like it was on fire, my bones shifting, grinding. I gasped, collapsing to the floor, my vision blurring. The world spun around me, a kaleidoscope of agonizing sensations. A low growl, deeper and more menacing than any I had ever heard, tore from my own throat. I looked down at my hands, horrified, as dark, coarse hair sprouted from my skin, my nails elongating, sharpening into claws. My jaw ached, my teeth feeling impossibly long and pointed. The transformation was horrific, a grotesque parody of life. I was no longer Arthur. I was becoming the very creature that had terrorized me, the black, scary werewolf. When the agony finally subsided, I stood, a monstrous shadow in my own apartment. My reflections in the darkened window showed a beast, not a man. My heart, once so human, now beat with a savage rhythm, a desperate longing for the hunt. The human part of me, the part that remembered Arthur, screamed in silent horror, trapped within this new terrifying form. The streetlights cast long, distorted shadows that night, but this time I was the one casting them. My howl, a mournful, blood-curdling cry, ripped through the silent city, a declaration of my new accursed existence. I was no longer a victim. I was a monster forever bound to the cycles of the moon, forever hunted by my own reflection, and forever a predator in the dark, unforgiving streets of London. The terror I had felt was now my inheritance, a chilling, inescapable curse, and the city, once my home, was now my hunting ground. My old life was gone, shattered, leaving only the relentless, primal hunger of the black, scary werewolf. There would be no escape, only the endless, horrifying night.